Good morning, everybody. Let's have a look at Bitcoin and all the other stuff, shall we? If you want to join the live streams, we're doing them tonight. So links in the description below for the Patreon. That is, we do them twice a week. Right. Other than that, let's just get started then, shall we? Because isn't it funny? Really, we'll just start with Bitcoin. Isn't it funny? If you can just take yourself back, a month or two. And you had all those influencers, didn't you? All those people on Twitter and I imagine on YouTube also that were telling everybody the cycle is over. Okay? It's a broken cycle. It's a failed cycle. In fact, Bitcoin is not going to ever recover again. And it's going down and it's broken basically, and that is it. Yet, structurally and every other piece of this puzzle suggests that we're heading into what is my suggestion as the end of the cycle will be the 4-year cycle where it pops in September, thereabouts. But no, it was the end of the cycle. Get out while you can, because there will be lower prices from here. So, I mean, I always find it amusing. It's just one of those things, and I hope people recognise this when they watch me. And you can leave a little comment if you do. I have said that I believe very much that we are going to pop in September. I'm going to hold until September. When we get to September, I might have a close look and have a little think to see exactly what I'm going to do. But pretty confident that we're going to keep going up till September. And here we are, going up again in what is a broken cycle. And I always tell everybody that you can't say that the cycle's broken until 4 years has elapsed. You can look back at it and recognise it for what it is. But there you go. Anyway, just a little word of warning though. I mean, other people have noticed it, and I'm sure you can see it too. There is real warning signs here though. Bearish divergence on the monthly. You've got bearish divergence on the weekly also. Obviously this drive to here. This one does look like it might even cancel out in all fairness. And obviously the money flow index did have bearish divergence here. And it still technically exists if you want to measure it from here to here. There was a reset with regular bull div here. So, but the point I'm trying to make is, if we think about this extending from here to here, it's very reasonable to imagine that there's going to be a bit of bearish divergence or an overheated money flow index at some point between here and September. So again, just more evidence to the fact that we're getting near the end. But in all fairness, we do have the trend signal on the itchy cloud still all in play. So let's enjoy it for what it is. It's a slow trend. But it's a trend all the same. Right, moving on to the daily, if we have to. I'll draw a few lines out of nowhere. So what we're looking at is nothing more than continuation. And as far as the daily is concerned, we're above all moving averages. If we do come down to any of them, is 106,600. Same as we were saying yesterday. It's basically the same. So there's nothing different at all. In fact, because there's nothing different, we might as well look at other things. Let's have a look at the total too, because everyone's going to be thinking about altcoins, and that's fair to say. We're above all moving averages now on the daily, after having the golden cross retested, exactly as expected. It was exactly as expected, and now ricocheted with the V-shaped recovery, and hopefully at this point now continuation. We've got breakout of momentum on money flow. That's a really good look for it. And on the weekly, we're above all moving averages as well, breaking outside of the cloud. We've got no trend or pump signal on this one yet. What we should do later. Again, moving into the horizontal, which is this local high from over here. That is now where we're pushing into the resistors. And if we break that, the next stages are 1.14, obviously then the 1.6, and I think at that point we'll be heading towards the 1.7 really, and probably beyond. But let's not get too excited, let's just recognise what it's doing, which is moving exactly as expected. Even off the fact of the weekly golden cross. There's your golden cross, there's your retest, V-shaped recovery and then some, another retest, V-shaped recovery, possibly. I think very likely, to be honest with you. Very likely. We'll just finish on the dominance chart because, again, if you want to join the live stream, we'll be looking at all the altcoins that you ask me to, and whatever you ask me to be honest with you. There's no point in me elaborating much further beyond a basic market overview. But the dominance chart, again, this is my expectation that we're going to dribble down towards, I don't know, 50, 60, 50, 40, maybe even low 40s, dipping into the 30s between now and September. And are we seeing signs of that right now? We are. Yes, we are. So we've dropped down quite hard, below the 200 moving average here. There's only one further one below us here on this 4 hourly. There's no short signal on this one yet, but there will be at some point soon. But we don't have it yet. So all we're seeing now is a lower high. Yes, that's right, a lower high. Getting support at 64, and if that gets lost, we do come down towards 61 pretty fast. I know, that would be quite good. We're talking about the old alt Cision. So if that breaks, then yeah, there's so many supports below us. But, supports do offer bounces. But if there's traction, and if there's power in numbers, and if there's good setups across the board, then yeah, the dominance chart is just going to reference the fact that altcoins are moving. I've never been afraid of an altcoin. Well, that's not true. I'm afraid of many. But, as far as this cycle is concerned, if we still want to call it that, I know it upsets a lot of people. But as far as this period in the market is concerned, this ought to be the most explosive part for altcoins, basically, between now and September, or at least just this year in general. But, as I'm pointing to September as being the end, this should be the most explosive part. So, it was like 2020. If anyone was around back in December 2020, altcoins were not popular. They were rubbish. Bitcoin had rallied up 300%. Everybody was saying, sell your altcoins, buy more Bitcoin. It's up 300% in 3 months. And I was like, that sounds crazy to do that. I think it's probably better to do the opposite way around, right? Sell your Bitcoin into altcoins after such an extended rally, waiting for a rotation at resistance. No, it goes up, it must always go up. I read on Twitter, and I saw it on YouTube. Because it's gone up 300%, it will go up another. And altcoins are not. Some people can only see the trend that's in front of their face immediately. It's unfortunate. Cannot imagine that a trend will end at some point, reverse or rotate. Anyway, 2020, altcoins were dead. They were rubbish. No one wanted them. And who bought them? Me. Hey, I bought them. I was doing bot trading. I was getting 2 BNB every single day. Sometimes 3.5 BNB a day. This is all after just a simple investment of $1,000 into bot trading. I spent that 3 months basically living the BNB life, just allowing the bots to trade. Yeah, imagine that. Especially now, looking at how the price of BNB. I put $1,000 into a bot and left it to run. I got 2 BNB, between 2 and 3 BNB a day. That's crazy. Because when we look at the price of it now, it's pretty near $700. I only put in $1,000 back then. Honestly, it's just crazy to think about it. Imagine that's getting 12 to 1,300. This is the equivalent, 12 to 1,300, possibly at some days $2,000 a day, just from a simple $1,000 investment. Again, we're talking about what it was like when I was doing it over here in 2020, and then this happened. And I'm just trying to point things out here. Might not be your first cycle, or it's easy to forget what things are like. And I guess I'm particularly casual about it all because I've done well out of crypto for many years. I can kind of just relax generally. I know that if some people have got too much riding, they can't relax. I get that. they find it much harder to relax in these situations. But the cycle always looked relatively similar to the previous. In fact, it generally looks stronger than the others. This is your previous cycle. This is this cycle. I mean, it looks pretty good to me. So trust in this. Well, don't trust in what I say, but I believe in what I say. So I'm waiting to September. Then we're gonna have a good cash out party. Right, that's it. I'll leave it with you there. Maybe I'll see you on the stream tonight. Maybe I won't. Otherwise, I hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.